So this is what's going to be interesting for us, like the T cells. So we're going to really focus on that because this is the cells that are going to be targeted by HIV virus. So here I try to put a little difference in between the response to the pathogens, which is here is like very broad and not specific at all. On the other side, the adaptive system is very specific and defined, and it just develops along the period of time. So I also try to catch people's attention on those proteins that are secreted. In the inner side, we have lysosome. Where the lysosome come from? They come from the granules that are in the neutrophil. You have the complement cell, the CD8 proteins that she already talked about, that CD8 protein acute phase reacting. So those are secreted by the liver. We have on the other side immunoglobulins, like I said, they've been secreted by the B cells. They're the ones who secrete. They become the plasma cell and secrete the immunoglobulins. The IgM are a marker for acute phase. You have the IgE. If you have any eosinophil, like I said, hypersensitivity reactions, those are the IgE that came. And the IgG, those are the ones that cross the placenta and go to the babies. They're the one, when the baby is born to 6 months, they're the one who protect the baby against any type of viral or bacterial infection. And the IgG, the IgA, we have them on the gut. So we have them anywhere in the mucosal surface. They're the one who protect our normal mucosal surface. Next slide, please. So here, I just try to focus on only the T cell and how the HIV virus can infect the T cell. So the T cell, they're first born in the bone marrow. Like we have T cell and B cell. B cell are born in the bone marrow and mature in the bone marrow. Now the T cell are born in the bone marrow. I just call born. I don't know if that's the normal way. But yeah, they're born in the bone marrow and they go to thymus. And the thymus, they get mature there. And they differentiate. We have two types of them. We have the CD4 and the positive, and then we have the CD8 positive. The CD8 are the killer. We call them the cytotoxic killer. And then we have the CD4, they kind of, I would call them the holder. They just don't kill, but they kind of hold the path. So, and then we have like the selective, positive selection and negative selection. What happens is, on the receptors of the T cells, they try to, it's kind of the testing them. The one that came against the natural system, those are not negative. So they try to eliminate them. And the ones that are there and defend and they don't attack their own cell, those are the positive that they send for war. The next slide, please. So this is the generality about viruses. So in 1898, this guy, I can't even pronounce his name, is the one who really was interested on the foot and mouth diseases. On those foot and mouth diseases, he came with the conclusion that there is a kind of particle that is infectious particle that is smaller than the bacteria. And we didn't know anything about those particles. And I guess later those particles became viruses. So, and then viruses, how do the viruses manage to live? They live depend on the host cell. So virus by itself cannot do anything, but they use the host cell and the host cell and host cell material to develop themselves. So, and we have two types of viruses. We have DNA viruses and we have RNA viruses. Next slide, please. And RNA viruses, HIV viruses is an RNA virus. And I don't know, I've seen lately some people talking about DNA in certain functions, but officially, HIV virus is an RNA virus. And the RNA virus, what we do, the difference between RNA viruses and DNA viruses is just that single-stranded and double-stranded. Because DNA is double-stranded and RNA is single-stranded. So here, this picture is kind of unknown, but I try to make it so you guys can just see the yellow part. So it's not only an RNA virus, it's also an envelope virus, which means when it needs to multiply, it needs to get rid of the envelope first to get to multiply. And we can see all those particles that we have, the GP120, which is the attachment to the host cell, and the GP24, which is the capsid. So we're going to see those are going to be very important when we come to the treatment part. She really didn't ask me to talk about all this, but she asked me to talk about treatment. But just to attach everything, I'll just go through all this. So here we have the diagnosis of HIV. How do we know if somebody has HIV? And the presumptive diagnosis is ELISA, which is stand for, let me get this right. Let me see if I got it. Yeah, it's the enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So this assay, what they do, they add the enzyme to the antibody and see if there's a change of color. Or they take the antigen and they add the enzyme to it and see if there's a change of color. So if there's a change of color, it's positive. There is no change of color, negative. So, and then the other way to confirm, because that is, sometimes you might be positive like that, but now you really have the disease. So they have another step to confirm the diagnosis. To confirm the diagnosis, they go to the Western blot assay. And the Western blot assay, there's like 4 types of them. There's like Southern blot assay, which tests specifically DNA. There's like a Western blot, which tests specifically proteins. There's like another one, Northern, which tests the RNA. And there's like a Southwestern. I'm not sure what that stands for. But here, so when they go to the Western blot assay, what they do is they take a protein, a particular protein, and they add a label, like they kind of stick something to it, and they amplify it. And when they amplify it and they start looking for it, if they found it that it's bound to an antigen or an antibody of the virus, then they can confirm that you have. With that one, if somebody went through the Western blot assay and is found really positive, that means the person is really positive. That's kind of confirmatory. So the AIDS state, I just want to have your attention to that part. That's very important. AIDS, when the diagnostic is less than, like when the number of CD4 positive is less than 200, that means you have AIDS. But before that, you can still have HIV, but it doesn't progress to the AIDS step. That means you have enough cells to defend your body against the virus. The next slide, please. So here I try to sum up a little bit all this, the virus, and then it's an envelope virus, it's a retrovirus, it contains reverse transcriptase, also the CD4 positive, so I'm not going to come back on all that. So the transmission way, we have sexual, and then we have in the United States, the homosexual community have more HIV than heterosexual, and some cofactors. So it's kind of cofactors are, if you see this person coming along with that same symptom, you might really kind of give you an idea about probably I should test this person for HIV. But it doesn't mean always that the person has HIV. So we have herpes and we have also syphilis. So those kind of catching your attention on the disease. And then also we have the parenteral transmission. So we have IV drug abuser, hemophiliac. Hemophiliac, I always understand like people who love blood. So blood transfusion, needle stick, vertical transmission, that's very important. And the vertical transmission, a mother who is HIV positive or has AIDS can transmit to the baby. And the way to test that, that's the way they use the PCR. The PCR is the polymerase chain reaction. And then what they do is, that's not complicated. I'm not going to have time to talk about that. But there's a PCR kind of detect and say the baby has it or not. And then diagnostic, we already talked about the diagnostic. And next slide, please. So this is the treatment. This is what I was asked for. And then I just jumped out.
Well, he knows this stuff.
So here we have, what does the bacteria do? We have the physios, we have the integrase, and we have the proteins. And what happened is when the bacteria came, they attach first to the host cell. So we try to bombard the bacteria at that level. And then if we get rid of the virus, I'm saying bacteria. I'm talking about the virus, the HIV virus. So it attaches first. So when we bombard here and the virus is resolved, then we're lucky. If not, we go to the next phase. The next phase is gonna be a penetration. It's gonna penetrate inside. And we have drugs specifically that are targeted for the penetration phase. We have here antibody. And then if we don't catch them, they go to the transcription phase. And we have the drug that we kind of attack on the transcription phase also. Those are the nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitors. All these drugs that you see are kind of made for exactly for that. And if we cut them at that level again, we're lucky. If not, we go to the next. So this is how you go. Any sequences have a specific medicine targeted for treatment of HIV. And we go all the way down to the protease inhibitors. So here, this is not common to HIV only. It's common also to any type of virus. A virus, when it gets to your blood, it is there forever. Hepatitis virus, herpes virus, any virus. And this is the way they try to target them. With hepatitis virus, we target with the interferon and all this stuff. But we're not going to talk about hepatitis because that's not really what I'm interested in today. And next slide, please. So here, the treatment. I took this picture is one of my patients that I try to share with you because this guy took nevirapine. Nevirapine is this product. What is it? Nevirapine is this product. And it caused this skin rash reaction on a person. And when you see, this is kind of when he was healing. But when you first saw him, the person, he had like, whole skin was gone. And you would think that he was burned, completely burned. When I saw it the first time, I thought it was burned. Because I was receiving burn patient. Not really. I never saw a pain reaction before. That was the first time. So I just took the picture and tried to add it to it. So here you want to see the nucleotide reverse transcriptase. Their problem, so before I go back to that, the HIV treatment is always combination treatment. They try this medication add to this other medication. If you have a family member or anybody that you know that is HIV positive, you probably can ask them or look at them. They already have a lot of medications because it's like combination medications. So, and the most important thing is to reverse. And everything that we saw on the first the slide before was to reverse. When you go to the attachment side, there's a drug to reverse that side. When you go to the penetration, there's a drug to reverse that. When you go to integration, there's a drug to reverse that, and so on. So all the way to the protease inhibitors. So we have like, I'm trying to be specific, but it's very hard when talking about HIV because there's so many medications. But I'm just gonna talk about the common medication that give side effects that are, as a probably dietitian, would be interesting to notice that if your patient is taking HIV medication and also developing this type of symptoms, you should know that this might be one of those HIV medications. I don't think it's very interesting for everybody to remember all the name of the drug. It's why I didn't really list the name of them here. So here, when you see the non-nucleotide reverse transcriptase, most of the time, those are suppress the bone marrow. And those patients, you can see them with anemia, with the peripheral neuropathy. Probably, what can we do for anemia? Probably give a little bit of iron, or anything against anemia. Or what can we do against peripheral neuropathy? A little bit of folate or B12, but the rest is going to be the doctor to decide about it. Lactic acidosis, and we have also pancreatitis. And when you see a patient who's having a pancreatitis and he uses this drug called etidanosine, you gotta stop completely the drug, and then review the treatment, or probably talk to the doctor and see what can we do to change the treatment. So for the non-nucleotide reverse transcriptase, we have most of the time skin rash, like I said, for the nevirapine, the person who is doing that skin rash. And we have also, I'm kind of, I don't know, I want to be cautious about this part. They said that the lamivudine and efenvaline, those are two drug medications that are really contraindicated for pregnant women. But the thing is, that means nevirapine is safe for pregnant women. And the reaction that we saw was because of nevirapine. So that means it's not any safer, but I guess people might react to it differently. So for the protease inhibitor, we have hyperglycemia, dry intolerance, and for the integrase inhibitor, we have increase in creatine kinase. What does increase in creatine kinase do? It kind of jeopardize a little bit the kidney if you have a low level of creatine. And the fusion inhibitors, those attack the skin. You can have on the site of injection, you can have some type of skin rash. For the fusion inhibitors, I will talk about that. For prophylaxis, for opportunistic infectious disease. So HIV patient, when you're immunocompromised, that means immunodeficient, that means you are at the mercy of every other disease. Like any disease can just come and catch you. And most of the time, what are the diseases that we share every day for people who most of the time are not using some barrier to protect themselves? Those are the next slide, please. Those are the common diseases that we must, for HIV patients to have most of the time, because their immune system is low, and any type of infection can be there and just grow. So we have candidiasis, oral thrush, and the difference between the candidiasis and the second one, which is oral hairy leukoplakia. The oral hairy leukoplakia is a malignant. So if you have it, you have probably tongue cancer. But if you have the candidiasis, you will have probably, both will have a white, kind of a white thrush on the tongue, but the other one, you can take it off. For the candida, you can take it off, but the hairy leukoplakia, you can never take it off because it's like cancer. But both look like, you have to be very careful. So, also we have Kaposi sarcoma. And I took a picture of a Kaposi sarcoma that I'm going to show you. This is another patient that I was following. And Kaposi sarcoma, most of the time, is the herpes simplex virus number 8 that causes that symptom. And trust me, there's like a lot of HIV patients, they will have like, they feel like big like that. I don't know if you guys heard about elephantiasis. It's something like that. It's really, really big. So, and the next thing that I'm trying to say, so men who have sex with men, most of the time are the one who's gonna have that. There's a human papillomavirus. The human papillomavirus are the one who's gonna cause the So for the CD4 count, when it goes down 200 by millimeter cube, this is where we're gonna have a lot of those diseases coming up. So this is the AIDS state. When it goes down to less than 100 by millimeter cube, it's gonna have a lot of more opportunistic diseases that you would not cut when your CD4 level was a little higher than that. So and then the last thing though, this is Toxoplasma gondii. And Toxoplasma gondii, if you have a pregnant woman with a cat, that's very dangerous. Like a pregnant woman should not be, I'm not saying that you just when you get pregnant, just get rid of your cat, but just be careful because with or without HIV, a pregnant woman is very, very exposed to cat feces, and the cat feces can give you the Toxoplasma gondii. And I'm gonna show a picture of a baby that was born from a woman who was not even HIV positive. Somebody was dead. But for HIV positive though, it can be male or female. Male or female, pregnant or non-pregnant. If you have HIV positive and you have cat, most likely you may develop that Toxoplasma gondii. And the Toxoplasma gondii is a brain infection. The infection goes all the way to the brain and is developing the brain. It's nothing good. Don't catch. So I try to see that's the Toxoplasma gondii from the baby that was born from a mother that is not even HIV positive, but that just had a cat home and the cat faces infected. So this is a PID, which stands for pelvic inflammatory disease. And this specific case, though, this is a gonorrhea. This is the cervix. Like we look up inside the cervix and you see this picture was taken from there. And this one, the hairy leukoplakia, I took this one from the book. I don't know, I really didn't have it. The oral thrush also from the book. You can see the difference. They're all whitey, but the difference is this one you cannot scrub off, this one you could scrub off. So this is the herpes labia. Those are the signs. We said when you have herpes or syphilis, you might say, just let me go do blood test for HIV. So this is the genital herpes. So the genital herpes is the virus number 6, and the oral herpes is usually the virus number 1. So and then when you go all the way to Kaposi sarcoma, this is the picture that I was talking about. So this guy, look at his feet. So those only doing, not only they were treating HIV, also giving him chemotherapy for a fee. And most of the time, I've seen 2 people die from the HIV, from this. Like, I don't think there's like a long-term solution to that, because you are the AIDS state, you're completely immunocompromised, and if you have to add chemotherapy to that, you're gonna be even more immunocompromised. So this last picture is Bartonella tensis. This is a kind of, it's just a dermatosis. I can show, it's very hard to make a difference between this and also the Kaposi sarcoma, because at the beginning, they can look like. And you will see probably the Kaposi sarcoma will not only give you this, they can also give you some type of skin lesion that you can see throughout the body. It looks like a leprous body, like it looks like a leprosy, but they're different. So I think this is what I had for you, or for today's presentation. But the most important is, this is my sources. So this is, I got my stuff from this one. But the most important here though is an HIV patient with opportunistic disease. I mean, the person is almost at the AIDS state. And the AIDS state is going to be very, very intense with the treatment. I didn't talk about any nutrition treatment because, trust me, doctors don't know about nutrition. This is what she would say, and that's so right. They don't teach nutrition in medical school. So that's what I have. Any questions?
I think you did an awesome job explaining, much better than I did, but then you did. But yeah.